Today we're going to go through the bridge replacement project and follow the funds flow for Mr. Benoit. Let's go ahead and take a look at investments. Here we'll see Benoit's account where his money will gather during the initial phase until his I-526 is approved. Within this account we have documents, which will store his passport, his I-526 approvals, as well as any account statements that are generated for his account so he can keep track of his funds. In June of 2008, we show an initial investment of $500,000. Then, in accordance with the escrow agreement, in November of 2008, Benoit's investment of $500,000 is then transferred to the lending entity's operating account. So let's take a look at the lending entity's operating account, where in November of 2008 we'll see his investment transfer over to the lending entity for $500,000 and then immediately flow to our construction escrows. We're showing his funds being distributed to two different tranches, $350,000 to the first tranche and $150,000 to the second tranche. Over in the construction escrow, we'll follow through on the first tranche, where we can see on November 2nd his initial transfer of $350,000 is deposited into the construction escrow for the first tranche. When this phase of construction completes, the money will then transfer over to the developer's operating account, where it will sit until the developer refinances the project. In the developer's operating account now, we can see the $350,000 that's transferred over from Phase 1 in November of 2008. In January of 2009, we can now see the second phase of the project that has completed, and the $150,000 that went to that phase is transferred into the developer's operating account as well. Again, the money will sit in this account until the developer refinances the project and refunds back to the initial investors. And we're showing this in November of 2010. Now let's take a look at our capital return escrow for Benoit, where we can see as soon as his money transfers to the lending entity's operating account, we start collecting fees of $10,000 annually. We're also assessing a interest on his investment to the developer, and you can see the deposits from that interest on a quarterly basis into this account. The credits and debits will collect into this account until the developer refinances the project in November, as we saw earlier. The $500,000 is transferred back to Benoit's Capital Return Escrow. And then when his 829 is complete, the funds are distributed back to our investor Benoit. Now the funds transferred back are the $500,000 less any annual management fees and adding back in any interest collected on the account. Now when we close this account, we're including the I-829 approval as well as generating a new audit report for the investor Benoit. Let's go ahead and take a look at that audit report. This is our audit report for our investor Benoit. Up at the top we have general information about his money and all the flows in and out. So we have all his deposits of $550,000. We have his final disbursement of $474,000. And then we have account fees on the right side for $50,000, quarterly assessment $4,800, and then annual management fees totaling $30,000, which gets us to the point of $474,000. Then in this next section, we have his investment-related activity only. So we can see his $500,000 coming to subscription, going over to the lending entity's operating account, immediately afterwards going into the construction escrow, and then as each individual phase completes, parts of his money is transferred over to the developer's operating account until the developer refinances and the total $500,000 is returned back to the Capital Return Escrow. And then the final payout after the I-829 approval of $474,000. In this bottom section, we have the entire detailed transaction history supporting the above information.